Hello everyone, welcome to Mistakes Were Made. We are going to be doing our cash stuffing for the second pay period of October. So let's get started and see what we're working with here. Looks like we've got 100, 200, 300. Come on now. 50, 400. 20, 40, 60, 80, 90, 500, 10, 20, 30, 40, 45, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60. So we are going to be working with $560 today. And if you are new, welcome to the channel. I hope that you enjoy what you are watching. As info, we do not cash stuff all of the envelopes that we have here today. We have some that are specifically for the second pay period of the month. We have some that are just strictly for the first pay period, and then we have a few that we do fund during both. So let's get started. All right, so AAA we do fund. We recently paid our bill. I have a little note that says it was due September 15th. We are going to put $13 towards this. So we are building this back up. We've got 10, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, and 26. Today is the 20th. Okay. All right. And if you are new, you will notice that our envelopes are pretty simple. I did start with just regular standard card envelopes. Well, they weren't even card envelopes. I don't know the exact size, what you call them, but they fit in here. They weren't like a legal size envelope if you're doing like an official letter or something like that. And they had, I just hand wrote stuff on there, and when it felt like it made sense financially, and as we got used to this process, I went on Amazon and I found these. They were pretty reasonably priced. I want to say it cost $16 for the pack that I received. We have not used all of them. There are still more that we can make new sinking funds and envelope items for, but I wanted to make sure that I wasn't purchasing things just to buy them, just for aesthetics and things like that, in contrast to where we wanted to focus the money that we had in our budget. So we did get to a point where, putting a little bit of outlay for this stuff made sense for us, and so that's what we did. We also ended up buying these little label things. I bought a little packet that had a bunch of different title items. Many of them I don't think I would ever find a use for, so it may make sense to really look at the descriptions to see if it even tells you exactly what is going to be in the sticker grouping, just so that you don't end up spending money on stuff that you're never going to use. In the end, I don't recall the cost now, but I don't think it was too over the top expensive either. And there are some things that I kind of cobbled together, 2 different stickers to fit what I needed. And in other cases, I made my own by just putting, clear packing tape, using a Sharpie and writing down what I needed and putting clear packing tape over the top of that. So There's lots of options. Birthdays is one that also gets funded this pay period, and it gets $12. So let's see where that puts us. We are at 20, 40, 50, 65, 66, 67, 68, $69. And you can see I'm using some pretty standard like note cards. Now these actually came with something else. I want to say it was like a recipe box or something similar. And so I just commandeered this because we weren't using it for its actual purpose. But I think 3x5 index cards aren't terribly expensive, but again, I have not gone and sourced that. So if, you know, with the inflation and how much everything is costing these days, they actually are ridiculously expensive for what you actually get. Forgive me. All right. So that is done. I can hear some tickety tick-tacking because Mr. Gus is wandering around. Car maintenance does not get any funding this pay period, but Christmas does. Christmas gets $12. Okay. Go on. Thank you, buddy. That's a good boy. Okay. So, aren't you so cute? All right, what do we have? We've got 50, 150, 70, 90, 200, 10, 20, 30, 45, 46, 47, 48, 9, 50, 51, 52, $252. Okay, so getting, you know, that much closer to our goal. Clothing is going to get $5. All right, so 10, 20. We've got 5, 10, 15. Okay, so Guster decided he needed some love, so he doesn't like being up on the chair in order to get it though. So I tried to show, but he's not too keen. And of course, okay, guys, now they're all over here. All right, Spotty. Yeah, I know you're the neediest of them all, aren't you? Okay, I've got to get this done. Maybe we will revisit after we get all of this completed, but y'all be quiet. Like, yeah, right. Dine out and entertainment do not get funded, neither do garden and yard. Gas gets $100. Okay, well now we're gonna hear weird dog noises because Guster doesn't know how to be quiet. Augustus Gustav. Shh. Thank you. Thank you, buddy. Okay. Gifts get $5. See, this is why I don't tend to involve the dogs with my videos, because it just ends up being, if not chaos, because they want to have fits with one another, then it's constant weird noises. 5, 10, 15, 20, $25. 10, oh, that looks weird. 10, 20 is 25. All right. Okay, here we go. Here we go. We are not doing giving this pay period, but groceries we are doing for sure. It gets $200. So we'll put one of those back. Health gets 10. We've really whittled our health down a fair amount simply because we have had to fund, meds and stuff from when we were sick. And boy, this particular sickness has been something that's really kind of lingered. Mr. M in particular has just had that kind of phlegmy cough for a while now. Granted, it's been maybe a couple of weeks, and he's not coughing all the time, but you can tell that, every now and then it'll take him by surprise, and it's a fairly productive cough, if you get my drift. And yeah, even myself, I'll find like my nose will start to get just a little bit stuffy and runny, and I've found if somebody gets me laughing too much and too long, then it triggers some coughing as well. So I don't know, it's not been exciting. Let me put it that way. I mean, we're both feeling much better, but it seems to be lingering in certain ways. So we got $10, $20, $30, $40 here. We were really kind of concerned about going to my dad's to pick up the recliners when we were doing our junk run and stuff like that, because we were certainly already starting to feel under the weather, and we really didn't want to be in the vicinity of him and his wife, because they are both fairly older. But at least so far in talking with him, they didn't catch anything or anything like that, which we are very grateful for. Household, we are not doing. License and fees gets $11. Tickety tack. Okay. We got 50, 60, 70, 80, 95, 100, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, $164. At some point, I think I'm going to have to do some kind of consolidation, just because we have, so many of these little denominations here, and it can sometimes make things a little bit clunky. But that said, we are also getting fairly close to the fully funded limit for this. Just what did I say? 164. So we have $36 more to go for that. There's nothing in miscellaneous. We'll skip that. Pets. Okay, pets gets $160. And this guy got completely, wiped out with Mr. Gus's last appointment at the vet. That's the one where we unfortunately found out he does have a heart murmur. Now he does have another appointment where he needs to get the rest of his like booster shots and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see how much that particular appointment costs. Hopefully it costs no more than $120, $40, $60, $70. We had at one point, using, you know, like overages and stuff like that, boosted this to $44, but then we had some more costs come in pet wise. We needed to get some ear meds, amongst other things, so that dropped down to just the $10 that we saw in there before we just added this. So that said, we are making pets the recipient of any overage amounts or extra amounts that are $25 or less, for things like the gas, groceries, entertainment, dining out, those sorts of categories. If we don't use the full amount that we are allotting within whatever time frame that they are supposed to cover, then where we might have put them in miscellaneous and maybe put them somewhere else, pet is going to be the one that we probably will fund, just because we know we have some costs coming with his appointment, and we have no idea what we can really be expecting if we do end up having to make an appointment with a specialist to have his heart murmur looked into more in depth. So, well, we'll see where things land. Now, if it gets to a situation where the cost that we are incurring is well over what we have in our envelope, and we can't reasonably find extras within the envelopes that we have, because we have funded more than a year of coverage for the job loss, we will pull money out of there within reason. So we'll have to wait and see what that looks like before we end up making that particular decision. But it is there, it is an option. Hate to have to pull from that for something that it's not technically in place for, but you know what, you got to do what you got to do. Okay, so I pulled Prime and it gets $12. Last, yep. Okay, so we got a 10 and we have 2 1s. Okay, so we're looking at 50, 70, 80, 90, 100, 10, 20, 30, 5, 40, 1, 2, 3, 4, $144. 10, 20, $144. And I want to say that Prime is, I have mentioned it multiple times that I keep thinking, oh, I need to write down what it actually is, because I want to say it's $139, so we may actually be funded with this. But I can't remember. Because I also feel like I remember it being $147, so we would need that payment in December to cover it, but I think it is $139. So this may be fully funded at this point, even though I have $200 here on the envelope. If that's the case, we won't be making any adjustments as far as dealing with the overage to put it into another thing. We will leave any overage here, and because it comes due in December, it will have 2 more payments. So the payment for next month, if it is $139, then the payment of $12 next month. That one we can sacrifice, if you will, and potentially, put it into the pets area. And then when we come back in December, that will be the start of filling for the next year to pay for the fee. If it's more than 139, then obviously we'll keep the money in this particular envelope and pull money from there. So if it's 147 like I was thinking it might be, the next month we'll have 156 and we'll be $9 over. Well, we'll just keep the $9 in there as we start to go on to the next year in that case. Taxes. Now taxes should be getting this $20, but because of the number of sales we've had and previous covering, fundings, we are still, based on the calculations that I'm making, perfectly fine. We are overfunded by $11 and something cents. Of course, that's going to shift as sales come in and things like that. But for right now, we are funded and do not need to put any more money in here. So we are going to go ahead and put this in the pets category. So let me grab pets again. Well, you know what? We'll just put it aside until we're done with this. Savings, we're not touching. Yard cleanup. Last time we did this, I completely forgot that we were going to be funding apples and using the $100 that would have gone to yard cleanup for that. And so I did attribute it to here. That's fine. We are going to skip the one this time. And instead, we are going to remember, you know what, actually, maybe, it seems kind of silly to create an envelope just for the apples. It's just going to be for 2 pay periods. So yeah, we won't track the 200 as far as on any kind of tracker or anything like this. We'll just know that we didn't fund that because the apples is getting that 100. Now, junk removal and dump. So, at least at this point, U-Haul has not come back to us and said, hey, that damage that's up over on the top of the truck is attributed to you. You need to pay us some money. I don't know how long it takes them to look over the trucks and make those determinations. But again, when we looked at the truck, it looked like the damage from that was actually from a previous claim, and there was a little sticker that said claim completed or claim something. So even though we didn't notice it when we were first looking the truck over, we didn't notice the sticker either. So that's kind of why it came as a surprise. And I was like, oh, did we scratch this somehow? When we were, done doing all of our stuff. So at this point, I am considering this money free game. Now, if it's still early days and we might come back and find that they come to us and say, hey, it's taken us 30 days, 60 days, 90 days to get this all figured out, then we'll deal with it then. But we've got 50, 100, 20, 40, 60, 80, 90, $200 left from the 500 that we allocated. So again, we are putting that money where we know it's going to need to go, and that's going to be pets. So we have made it all the way through. So now I'm going to come back here and look for our pet thing. There we go. So now what have we managed to put together for our kiddos? Okay, we've got 50, 100, 20, 40, 60, 80, 200, 10, 20, 220 additional dollars that we are now going to be able to add to the pets. Thank goodness. $10 of what we have now, the 170 that we just counted, was from other stuff that we folded into pets, you know, extra overages. So thank goodness for being on track funding wise, and any savings that we have had on amounts where the usage that we would do is variable and is replaced on a regular cadence, because I have been very, very concerned on how we are going to manage whatever the costs of, you know, diagnosing and et cetera, Gus's issues. So with that in mind, we will do a bit of a reorg here. Okay, so that now puts us at 150, 200, 20, 40, 60, 80, 300, 20, 40, 60, 70, 80, 90, 390. That is going to come in very much handy for his next appointment, which is November 1st. So with 390, that means we added $220. I'll put add, total of 390. Now, as quickly as this money has come, it's probably very quickly gonna go, but at least it's here, and we will use it as we need to. And other opportunities that we have, because we don't use all of the gas money that we have assigned, or, well, in this case, we've used all of our dine out and entertainment money already. But if we had any extra, that would go to it if it was under a certain amount. And same thing for groceries. If we have any extra in groceries this pay period, then it's gonna go to the pets. Okay, well, that is it. That is our cash stuffing for this pay period. I thank you for watching. I hope it was interesting. And as always, if you have any feedback, questions, concerns, things like that, please note those down below. I really, really appreciate everybody who has watched, and I hope we will see you in the next one.